Bramble Jam podcast.
This week on Yo Gavel Gavel, if somebody offers you free horses and you sprain your ankle while you're there, do they have to pay for it? Judge Judy answers yay or nay.
And if you have a boyfriend and you leave that boyfriend, get married, get a divorce, go back to that boyfriend, and he owes you money, do you get it? Judge Mathis finds out. Real people.
Real cases, fake justice. This is Yo Gavel Gavel.
Hey.
Yo Gavel Gavel.
Did we mess up?
You're supposed to say real people,
Yeah.
and then I'm supposed to say real cases.
What
and
did
then
I say?
No, that was all right. And then we're both supposed to say fake justice. And you just, half the time you don't do that.
Well, half the time, I'm right.
You know what? But
25.
100% of the time, if it's gavel time, it's Friday. Friday. Man.
Friday.
It's another Friday, another gavel. You're kicking your weekend off right with
Yes.
Yo Gavel Gavel here on the Bramble Jam podcast.
Yes. How's this is the end of the week. How's your week been, Dan? How's your week been?
It's a terrible question. It's a terrible question.
It's not. I care about you as a friend.
Yeah, sure you do. Week's going great, Bran.
Really?
It's going great.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of work, all good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great news. That's great
Bramble
news.
Jam made their first $1 million this week.
I'm laughing because you're underselling.
Yeah,
we made our first $1 million long ago.
Yeah. I just
Long
didn't
ago.
tell you. I just kept it.
You just kept it.
I kept it.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to Judy.
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 I think that's over.
Judy.
I think that's over Judy's limit there.
For those of you, maybe personal injury court, because you injured my heart.
That's right. Yeah, that's fair.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Yo Gavel Gavel. It's the show where Dan and I take turns telling each other different courtroom.
And the points don't
shows, and
matter.
The points don't. Have you watched new Whose Line Is It Anyways?
When it came back and they had a lot of the old cast, I watched it, but I've not watched. Don't they have an all new cast now?
No, they just have a new host.
Okay, yeah, I watched a little bit.
So
of it.
you still got Colin and Wayne.
Colin Mockery doesn't have anything else going on.
No,
Ryan
Stiles.
yeah,
No. And then the third person who doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The points don't matter.
Points don't matter.
That's right.
New host. She's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a girl.
Is it Aisha Tyler?
It's Aisha Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch that.
Yeah.
For a little while.
It's on the C-Dubs.
The C-Dubs. They're still making new ones.
Still making new ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a cheap show.
It's a cheap show. Why wouldn't you do it?
You just make it up on the spot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Yo Gavel Gavel.
Yeah. Scenes from a hat.
Come on.
All right. Again, we each watch a show, a different courtroom. There's a bunch of those shows out there. I'm sure you're aware. This week I'm watching a Judge Mathis. Dan sounds like he's watching a Judy.
Judy.
We haven't watched each other's cases. We'll explain it to each other. And at the end, the other person has to guess kind of the outcome,
That's right.
the verdict, and we'll tell each other yes or no. It's very simple. It's a
Simple,
very simple
simple.
show. Dan, do you want to go first?
I would love to. Judge.
Going to Judy's.
We're going back to Judge Judy. You know what I've started to realize about old Judge Judy is she's kind of lost it a little bit. She's getting real old, and it just she doesn't have the pop that she used to. And I hate that for Judy because she's a mainstay, but she's been doing it for 100 years since the advent of television. And she probably did it in her backyard before television existed. She probably did it for radio. And it just is not the same Judy.
Hello, it's Judge Judy.
Judge Judy.
It's Judge Judy here.
Yeah.
Here on the wave.
On the wave?
On the wave.
Is it like an ocean?
On the hertz.
On the hertz?
On the megahertz.
Megahertz.
900.
Is it a ham radio?
It's a ham radio.
Ham. Got it.
It's a ham Judy.
Ham Judy.
It's Judy ham.
Ham Judy. Anyway, she's old and she's kind of lost her step a little, so she asks a lot of repeating questions. And the bailiff she has now is chill. He's just like, all parties have been sworn in. This is the next case. Let's go. And so
Judy's chilling her older age.
So let me introduce you to two white women who are entitled. Christy Anderson is suing Margaret King for medical bills and lost wages because she was injured on Margaret's property. Now, Margaret seems like a sweet lady, and that's
How much?
we don't know to the end of the case.
Oh,
The
interesting.
short version is it's about $2,200, but we're going to
okay.
break that down a little
bad.
bit later. Margaret seems like a nice lady, and that's the last we'll hear from her for the entire case. So we start.
Is she the defendant?
She's the defendant. That's right. Christy Anderson is suing her for all of this
The
money.
lady being sued does not get to
So
speak.
she's standing there, and she goes, Judge Judy goes, so you're suing this lady. And then she looks over at Margaret King. She goes, Miss King, now you were not aware that Christy was on your property, right? And Margaret goes, no, I was not aware she was on my property. So how did she get there? My daughter was selling horses that we had kept there. They were my daughter's horses, but we kept them on our property. We were moving. She was selling the horses. She invited Christy onto the property, not me. I didn't know anything about this. And Judge goes, okay, and the daughter's here? And Margaret goes, yep. And she goes, okay, you can sit down. So then the daughter, whose name is Charity, stands up and becomes the defendant.
How old is Charity and how old is Chrissy?
Charity's probably close to 30.
Oh, okay.
And she's got platinum blonde hair and a nose ring, and her parents are probably like in their early 50s. That would be my guess.
And then Chrissy?
Christy is older, like probably not older. She's probably like in her 40s, strong Midwestern accent.
So probably not friends. She's just there strictly for the horse.
She's there for the horse. And so it's at this point that the daughter takes the stand, and Judge Judy goes, okay, so you're selling the horses. She goes, no, I'm giving them away. She's like,
giving them away? Let's give them away.
You're giving away horses. And she goes, yeah, I was something about her boyfriend. She was living there, and then they broke up, and then my parents were moving. I didn't have any place for them, so I was giving them away. I was just giving them away.
Let's give them away.
And so she looks back at Christy Anderson, and we give it away. And she looks back at Christy. She goes, Judge Judy goes, so you answered an ad for free horses. She's like, yeah. All right. So it's at this point that Christy proceeds to tell a story about how she shows up at this property, and there are 2 gates. I don't want to get lost in the gates, but they get lost in the gates for 5 solid minutes. And basically, the first gate, you enter with your car, and you get out of your car. In the second gate, there's a key. You open up the gate. You go in. She says that after the first gate, the second gate was really far down, and Charity told her to climb the fence so she could put the halter on this horse to see if it fit and see if she liked the horse.
Okay, so just to clarify quickly, the second gate is inside the first gate.
That's right.
So
the
you
first
go
gate
through the
is
first
like
gate.
the driveway.
Yes, and then the second gate is to get to the horses.
The second gate is to get to the horses.
And so Charity is telling Christy, bypass
the second gate.
Bypass the second gate, just climb over.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's at this point that she says, Charity goes, no, I didn't say that at all. Didn't say it at all. And Judge Judy goes, okay, what happened? She goes, I went to get the key for the second gate. It's hidden under a rock on our property, and I was going to open the second gate for her, and she decided she did not want to walk all the way down there. She hopped over the fence instead, and she's like, no, Your Honor. They bicker back and forth about what happened if they hopped over the fence. So she hops over the fence. The halter is too small for the horse, and so she needs to go back over the fence to get a different halter. And when she goes back over the fence, she claims that she lands on a pipe of some sort and rolls her ankle. Now, Judge Judy's like, so you mean to tell me there's a long driveway on a horse farm and there's a pipe out there? Just a random pipe. And she goes, yes, or something like it. Like it was something metal. And Judge Judy's like, looks at Charity, was there something metal? Charity's like, no, there's nothing metal there. She
dangerous for the horse.
She climbed back over the fence. She rolled her ankle and fell. We told her to use the gate. And the plaintiff's like, no, they didn't. They told me to climb over the thing. So she climbs back over, and after she climbs back over the fence, she rolls her ankle, tries to stand up, and then, according to Charity, basically passes out, like falls over. And they call an ambulance to come out to the horse farm to pick her up.
Okay.
They pick her up. They take her in. She basically has a sprained ankle. That's it. No break, no nothing. But because of that, she loses work time. So she says, I had a $2,300 deductible left on my insurance, and so my insurance didn't cover any of this. It was $527 for the x-rays and the treatment for the ankle. It was over $1,200 for the ambulance. Basically, she adds up all these medical costs, and that she's already paid those medical costs, and it's roughly $2,200, all under the deductible limit. She's asking for that back, and she's asking for a couple $1,000 or $2,700 in lost wages, which Judge Judy immediately throws out. So Judy just asks questions. She doesn't really get involved in anything else. She goes, hey, sometimes accidents happen. Why didn't you use the gate? They bicker back and forth over whether or not she was asked to use the gate or not. And basically, Judge Judy says, okay, it's time for me to rule.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It wasn't that interesting.
No,
There's a lot about the gate.
Yeah.
And I know, it's just like,
but
he said, she said.
This is the interesting. So it is a he said, she said, but even, let's throw that out. at the end of the day, even if Charity did tell Christy to climb over the gate, Christy's still a grown woman who can decide whether or not it's safe for her to climb over the gate.
That's right. But she's on Charity's property.
She's on Charity's property, but like, at what point? How much does that matter, really? How much does that matter? Just because you climbed over, so let's just say let's say somebody climbs over my front fence.
But they were invited to your house by you.
They were invited, and I said, just hop over, and they decided to do that.
Yeah.
You're telling me that would be my fault? That I would have to pay for their medical
you live
expenses?
3 houses down from me.
I know.
If I hop over the fence,
I would never
my
tell
ACL.
you to do that. I would never tell you to hop over the fence. I just think that
That's why it's important whether she told her or not.
Yeah, I don't know how important that is, though. At the end of the day, even if I say hop over the fence, you have to know for yourself whether or not that's smart for you as a person to hop over someone's fence. This is not a like a situation where there's something that happens in a regular scenario that causes her pain. This is her doing above and beyond to go over top of a fence. I think this is her fault, even if Charity said that that's what she should do. And for that reason, she's not going to get any money from Judy.
Yeah, so this is why I think Judy's slipping a bit. And I don't know how else to say it, but she's slipping. The whole case, it's clear that she has your opinion. Like, she keeps going, why would there be a pipe next to a fence? It doesn't make sense. Accidents happen. You took your own risk when you, like, she says all this throughout the case. And then she gets to the verdict, and she's looking at everything, and she goes, Charity, she was an invitee onto your property. Is there any homeowner's insurance? And then we go back to Margaret briefly, and they're like, not at the time. The house wasn't vacant. We weren't using it anymore. And she goes, accidents happen. You're not getting anything for wages, but she was an invitee on your property. She's asking for $2,200 or $2,230 some dollars. I'm going to give her half of it.
Okay, before I dive into this absurdity of that, had they sold the house? It's a moving sale, right?
They were in the process. So Charity doesn't own the house. She owns the horses.
Right.
Mom and Dad own the house.
They still own the house.
The house was vacant. They didn't have homeowners insurance on it anymore because they were not living there, and they were in the process of selling it. In fact, they said during the case that whoever bought the property tore it down. So it was not being sold to be lived in anymore.
Well, that's what I was curious. I was curious as to if like they had already sold it and they were moving after the sale, because at that point it's not their property anymore. So who cares?
It was still their property, but they were selling it to someone who was going to tear it down.
Okay.
And then Judy says,
"So Judy,
I'm going to give you half.
Half? Why?
I don't know.
Why, Judy?
For the life of me, I don't know why she got
because
half.
at that point it's just like, oh, I feel a little bit bad for you, so here's some money.
Especially when the woman that did it was clearly wrong. Judy's losing it. She's slipping.
Guys,
to Slippin' Judy.
Hashtag Slippin' Judy.
Hashtag Slippin' Judy. Get it going
Get it
right
going.
now.
Get it hashtagging. I don't know what else
got
to
enough
say.
Money, Judy.
It's not.
It's time to hang up the robe.
It's time to hang up the robe.
Time to hang up the gavel.
Gosh, man, that's a bummer of
Slippin'
a case
Judy.
because it's just not right.
Yeah,
it's not right.
It wasn't a good case, and then it wasn't right that it happened.
It wasn't right. Hey, let's take one more break. We'll try to see if things are right over here.
One more break? Have we taken one already?
Just like in my mind.
Okay.
Like sometimes I just take a mental break.
We're gonna take a
real break. We'll be right back after this.
Gavel.
Yo.
How was the actual break? Was it as good as the ones you take in your mind?
It was shorter for me.
Shorter, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, I want to go head on over to Judge Mathis's chambers, if you will. If you
I love a Judge Mathis.
So here's what's going on. Makisha Singleton, she is suing her ex-boyfriend. His name is Sean Oliveria.
Yeah, it is.
We'll call him Sean.
Yep.
Let's do that. Suing him for $920. Are you ready to dive into this case? It's an ex-girlfriend suing an ex-boyfriend.
Classic.
For money that she thinks that he owes. So Makisha says that Sean and her, they started dating originally back in 2013. They went on some dates. They entered into a relationship with one another. She was really into him, and he decided, I want to be a free man. I'm not interested in being in a relationship at this point in my life. Okay?
He needs his freedom.
Needs his freedom. So they break up. She moves on. She ends up getting married, having some kids, getting a divorce. Okay, so all this is happening since 2013. This is a recent case, so it's sometime in the last year or so. Okay, and so she says that after the divorce, Sean started coming around the house, helping out, doing some handyman stuff. There is some innuendo there from Mathis, and it's
some
big
handyman stuff.
Judge Mathis just gets a little pervy.
Classic math.
That's classic math. She says, though, that the more that they began to hang out with one another, the more she realized that he is a little bit of a different person. She says that he is angrier now than he was back then. He was an angry person back in 2013. Now he's angry. He's going through a little bit of a difficult time. He doesn't have a job. He is running low on money. And then Judge Mathis goes into a lecture about this is why people in the ghetto are so angry. So
Mathis always has it all figured out, and I'm not comfortable.
Thank you, Mathis, for that. If you've ever wondered, why are people in the ghetto angry? It's because they don't have any money.
There it is.
Thank you, Judge Mathis.
Thanks, Judge Mathis.
So Makisha says that they start hanging out, though. Like, she's like still trying to figure out what's going on. She doesn't say this, but it almost seems like she views Sean as the one who got away. Like, I love Sean.
She's still pining
for Sean. And so when the opportunity comes, arises after the divorce, she's like, well, Sean's still here. Sean's still single. Let's see what's going on with Sean. And so they start hanging out. She's noticing he's a little bit angry. One situation that she talks about is they decided to go to a concert, and she gets a call from her daughter. Her daughter's pregnant at the time, and so she decides she's going to answer the call. She's driving, answers the call, and Sean freaks out. He's like, do not talk on the phone when you're driving me around. You're putting my life in danger.
Is it on the Bluetooth? Or
no, it seems like it was a hand to ear situation.
Hand to ear situation.
And so just very upset.
Serious about phone etiquette in the car.
Serious about phone etiquette.
Maybe that's why he's single.
Maybe. Another time of him getting angry is they got in an argument about the word semantics. She didn't get into the details.
They did not get in an argument about the word semantics.
She did not go into the details about that argument. I wish that they would have.
That's ironic.
Yeah,
if I've ever heard it.
Semantics.
The argument about semantics.
So they dated for 6 months this time, but they ended up breaking up because she decided that she wasn't ready for a relationship. She felt like she dove in too quickly into this relationship after the divorce.
The second time.
So she went, yes. So she got a divorce and kind of.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, it really is. Really, it sounds like it's more just he was just kind of an angry guy. I don't know if you know, but people in the ghetto,
they don't have money. That's it.
And so Sean says that most of what was said is true. They did get back together, but here's the thing: she lives a different life than I do. She lives a life of luxury. She was spoiled in her marriage. She got used to having a lot of money, and
this guy sounds like a real catch.
So he's just kind of like, she's just kind of spoiled. I'm just a regular guy. I don't want the glitz and glamour. And so Judge Mathis is like, you not like want things? And he's like, no, I want things, but like I don't need things. And he was like, all right, regular Joe.
All right, Sean.
John. He says that after the divorce, he came around. He did do stuff around the house, maintenance stuff to kind of get her house in order after the divorce. One thing led to another. They started dating. And he says, yes, I did yell at her about being on the phone in the car.
Yeah.
I'm a single parent. You are not going to kill me and leave my daughter on her own because you have to talk on the phone.
Not on my watch.
If you want to talk on the phone, go off the road slowly, of course.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Pull over.
In the median. Talk on the phone. So she's suing for money that she says that he owes, and here's how that breaks down. So one, $50 for the concert ticket. Okay. She says that he said that he'd pay her back for the concert ticket.
No text or anything.
No.
Just verbal.
So a cell phone bill. So 1 month of a cell phone bill. Remember, he was down on his luck, and she said, "Hey, I'll pay for your cell phone bill." And then 1 month rent, which was about $1,100.
Okay.
She says that he paid he's paid about $500
Okay.
of what he owes of that sum of money, which brings you to about $920. Okay? So she just wants the rest of the money, and she's sick. The reason why she's suing him today is because for the past few months she's felt like a bill collector every few days, saying, "Hey, do you have my money? Do you have some money? Do you have some money?" And he's like, "Come to my job. I'll give you the money if you come to my job. You gotta come with me to the ATM, and I'll give you the money that way." So just being very like particular about the way that he wants to give her the money that he owes.
Does he ever admit that he said he'd pay her?
So here we go. So he says a couple of things, Judge. One, I didn't want to go to the concert in the first place. I never said I'd pay her back.
Sean, he doesn't seem like a spend $50 on a concert kind of boy.
No.
Yeah.
It's luxury.
Yeah, luxury.
He says that the cell phone bill was something that she said that she would pay because of the maintenance. So as a result, like you did some work, and so I'll pay for your cell phone bill.
Handyman stuff.
And she says, not true.
Okay.
I paid you $100 for the maintenance work.
Did she?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
But she also says he didn't really do that much. Like he put together some bunk beds and like some other tidy work.
$100.
$100. Paid her that. And he says, listen, the rent, I do owe that. I owe the rent. I left her a note saying, hey, I need some help with the rent. I promise I'll pay you back. I don't say that. I will pay that back. Okay.
Okay. So he's paid $500.
He's paid $500, so he owes about $600.
Okay.
And he says that he even tried to go out of his way to pay her the $50 for the concert ticket just to be nice. Here's the story. And she kind of alludes to it, but he says the story's a little bit different. So remember, hey, come to my job and I'll give you money.
Yep.
Here's how he said that went. She showed up saying, hey, do you have my money for the concert ticket? And he said, come inside and get it. The reason why he said that is he was working at a grocery store at the time. He was helping a customer.
Yeah.
And he couldn't leave. And so she said, if you come in. And she wasn't willing to come in. And because she said, you are the one that owe the money, you come to me, basically.
Wow.
So now we're ready to roll.
So I get the feeling that I'm going to be as mad about this as you were about Judy. I could be wrong, though. I think he owes what he said he would pay, the $600 for the rent. That's what he owes. The rest of it, I don't think he owes a dime of that because there's no proof he said he would pay it or there was any agreement that said he had to pay that back. Cell phone, concert ticket, come on. You have to be better. You know Sean by now. This guy is not a guy going out buying things that are any kind of near expensive. And I can just see him in my mind.
Yeah.
And I just, it's you. and I like, it's not, I'm sorry. If he said he'd pay the rent, make him pay the rent, doesn't know a dime more, $600 favor of the plaintiff.
You're close.
Really?
So
he's going to give $650.
Here's where Mathis differs. Yeah. He said, because you attempted to pay back the concert ticket.
You got to pay it back.
You got to pay it back. So don't say you don't. Like he could have, and he offered that information.
In evidence.
Like he didn't need to. He was trying to show that he's a nice guy, but in saying he's a nice guy, it cost him $50.
So $650.
$650. The amount, the balance for the ticket.
He kind of gabbled himself there.
He gabbled himself a little bit, and I've gabbled myself too many times.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No. Hey everybody, that's Yo Gavel Gavel. All right.
All right. Guys, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, hey, we got over 100 ratings and reviews.
Woo!
We did it. It's a big day. You can go and join in the fun of rating and reviewing because rating and reviewing is fun. Go to Apple Podcasts. Give us the 5 stars.
We got a review of somebody who left a review talking about how much they love rating review. Reviews. And it's just like, it warms my heart. Like they were considering throwing a part, like a birthday, like a little shindig over the weekend to kind of just like, alleviate some of the stress of life.
Classic.
And he was like, after I left the review, I didn't need that anymore. Like I just felt so like, wow. Like,
I mean,
life
it's just
is really,
so refreshing.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah, here's what I would say. Leave a rating and review. And in your review, use gavel as many times as you can in as many different contexts. And if you will do that, I'll read the review on the pod.
Ooh, you'll gavel it, huh?
I'll gavel it. I'll just gavel it on up.
Just gavel it up.
Gavel, gavel.
Guys, thank you for listening. Exciting information coming soon about some other ways that you can support the program and maybe get some bonus content coming up in July. But until then, if it's not a gavel,
it's gavel, gavel. Yo Gavel Gavel is a Bramble Jam podcast recorded live in Greenville, South Carolina at the Bramble Jam Podcast Network Studios. It's produced by Brandon Gray. For more information, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com/gavel.